so I went and had lunch and came back and refreshed the page, and I don't know, half an hour later, I got this nice message that great news, Cloudflare is now protecting your site. So I can only assume the name server settings, which we applied in Namecheap, have propagated through the internet, through the domain name system, and have been picked up by Cloudflare, who now are broadcasting our DNS settings for us, which is great. So now, goodbye, crazy domain. What is it? Namecheap? Yeah, whatever one of these you're using. Once your name server is set, you don't have to come back here until it's time to give them more money. Yeah, like fuck them right off, and we're good. So let's have a look. Cloudflare is protecting our site, mycoolwebsite.com. Let's have a look at the DNS. So you might recall that we already set up some A records, some address records, which map www.mycoolwebsite.xyz to 64.225.23.131, which is great. And we also set up an A record, which maps just the website with nothing in front of it, just the domain with no subdomain to our IP address. We set the time to live to auto, which just means don't even think about it. And we've made it so all our traffic is passing through Cloudflare. So you might at this point be tempted to type mycoolwebsite.xyz into your browser and press enter, or whatever your domain is, whatever you bought. I only realized until recording these videos that I burp a lot. So don't do that. And the reason is because if the domain name record has not yet propagated throughout the domain name system and you search for it and then it's not ready yet and the mapping, the A records aren't picked up by your computer, then your browser or your computer or someone else might cache those results and wait until those cache records expire until checking again, which means you have to wait even more time before actually getting it to work on your computer. So don't search for it locally, make someone else do the lookup for you. So I want you to go into Google DNS checker, and then find some website that checks DNS for you. I think DNS check is okay. So you go to DNS checker and you type in your website name, mycoolwebsite.xyz. All right, and it looks like the A records are everywhere, have resolved. Now I'm in Melbourne, Australia, and it appears that Cloudflare in what might be Melbourne seems to have worked. Now let's try www. Has this record also made its way around the internet? Yep, appears to be working. Cool. So that's good. Another trick I want to show you is you can get Google Translate to do your dirty work. If we go to google.com, we search for translate, we go to Google Translate, and we translate from some random ass language like Spanish into English, and we put in our website, https, what's our website called again? mycoolwebsite.com, no, .xyz, sorry. Right, and they will try to visit the website from their servers, pull down the results and translate it into English. It's already in English, so you should just see your website. And this is just a way of visiting the website without actually having to do it from your computer. And you can see we're getting this bad request, but that's obviously our website just breaking, so that's good. And finally, now that we have tried all of this, let's just check our website's still working on the local IP. Yeah, it's working. Let's visit mycoolwebsite.xyz. And so, I mean, something's happened. It is working, but then giving us a bad request, I think. And, how do we know that it is, in fact, working? How do we know that on our server it's received this request and this is responses from our server? One thing we can do to debug this is to check our server logs. So let's move this to the side. Let's SSH into root at our tut server. And do you remember that whole song and dance about setting up logging for the Unicorn access logs? And you're like, oh, this seems like some pointless bullshit. Well, hopefully we will see some information in there that tells us something interesting. So if we tail the last, 20 log lines from app logs unicorn access. Is there anything interesting here? Okay, so someone has made a GET request to we've gotten a GET request from Google Translate. So that worked. We got a 400. And then we got a GET request to root, which was us. If you recall, that succeeded. But the Google Translate one went through, and that worked. Then what was this? We made a request to our IP address, and that was for the static styles, and that was fine. Yeah, actually, one thing we can do is just follow the logs and see if the logs are coming through, because this is a little hard to read. But we can see that some requests that were intended for michaelwebsite.xyz are coming through, and the 400 status code is coming from our website. So it does sort of appear that it is working. Like, we sort of confirmed that, and now I'm just kind of double confirming it. So let's go in here and send a request, and you can see every time I do that, the logs tick over. And it appears that our request is hitting our server and being processed, which leads us to ask, what the fuck, why isn't this working? I mean, does our website still work? Well, we can test that. We can go inside the server. It's pretty clear that it's running because it's returning a response. What if we curl localhost? We're getting the response back. So it's working when we curl localhost, and it's not working when we visit here. It's working when we visit the IP address. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I will give you the answer. The issue is that we haven't updated the allowed hosts whitelist. So this is the setting in Tute settings prod, where we have the list of host names that we will allow. So it's okay for users to come in from localhost. It's okay for users to come in from the IP address, and it's okay for users to come in from this IP address as well. It's not okay for them to come in from michaelwebsite.com. Now, here is the thing. We've got to add that. I'm not sure if we have to add www. Let's just do it just in case. But you could test this. You could remove it and see if it works. And one thing I'm going to do, which might improve security a bit, but I'm not sure, so don't take my word for it, is I'm actually going to remove this entry. So what this means is if a user tries to access our website from the IP address of our server, then it will give them a bad request. But if they do it over the domain name, it will allow them to do it. And the reason I'm doing that is because the traffic between Cloudflare and it doesn't really matter though. Maybe it actually doesn't make a difference. Screw it. Okay, we'll just leave it in there. There might be a good reason for removing this. I'm not quite sure. You have a think about it and decide on what to do. Cool. So I've added Michael website and www.michaelwebsite to the allowed hosts. Luckily, because we wrote those handy deployment scripts, the process of getting this into prod is as easy as going scripts deploy. And we're just doing these database backups and all this good stuff. Copying all the files. I think what it's doing here is it's adding our database backups to the backups folder and copying all of them, even the old ones, which is a bit wasteful, but we can fix it later if we need to. And once again, we're uploading these files kind of redundantly because we just delete them later. So if we could delete these locally as well, that would be nice. But yeah, our changes to our prod py settings file should get onto the server now. And we'll get updated when we restart Unicorn. Okay, Geekon started. So let's give this another try. Oh, sweet. So my cool website is now up and running. We also set an A record for www. Oh, there you go. So that was www Michael website. Let's try Michael website. Also works, same website. Let's try HTTP. You can see that Cloudflare, because it's not us, it's Cloudflare doing this, is redirecting all HTTP traffic to HTTPS, which is nice. Because it means that all traffic between our server and Cloudflare is encrypted. And this is nice because if we go into the admin panel, what did I log in as? Like admin. I think that's what I did. Never, not now. So if we go to something like this, instead of it saying this website is not secure, it'll now say this website is secure. Now that's mostly true. The connection between our browser and Cloudflare is secure. The connection between Cloudflare and our server isn't secure. So it's like mostly kind of secure. But it could be better. Okay, so that is all of that set up. There's one more thing I want to show you, and that is just a little gotcha. So Cloudflare does some great stuff for us. One thing it does for us that can be a little annoying is it caches our static files. So this is stuff like, when we go to, oh no, that's my blog. Hello, Michael website. So if we go to Michael website and we look at the network requests, and we make a request, we get the styles, and if we do it again, I'm just saying 200 saved from memory cache. Okay, so this is being served from our local cache, and I think even if we hard refresh this, it's actually still, I believe, getting served from Cloudflare's cache, meaning that if we change this file and deploy the changes, those changes will not make it into our browser. You can see this has been minified, by the way. If we preview it, there should be a way to look at this nicely. I think it's this. Yeah. So it's been minified, turned from this into this, stripping out the unneeded data. Yeah, so if we change some styles or a logo or some JavaScript and we don't refresh, we don't purge the cache, Cloudflare will save these files to their servers, and instead of checking on our server whether it's changed, they'll just keep serving it. So what we need to do is when we make a new deployment and we changed our static files, just remember to purge everything. And this will delete all the cached files, which is totally fine. It may slow your website temporarily, depends how big your cached files are. For a small website, don't think about it, just do it. For a big website with lots of assets and where performance is really important, well, you maybe think a bit harder about doing that, but you can just do this all day long. And tell you what, that is it. We're done. We now have our Django application deployed to production with SSL, a domain name, working really nicely. So congratulations, you are all done.